All right, we're going to talk real quick about rolling out a slab. A slab is a thin piece of flat clay. We always start with a sphere. Now we have to wedge it first. Now this is quite a bit of clay. You can see it fits in both of my hands. It's about a pound, what I would consider a pound of clay. Notice that as I'm wedging this, I'm not slamming it into the table. I'm just dropping it easily into the table, get it worked up, eliminate and remove any air pockets that might be in there, which we can remove air pockets as we are rolling it as well. Now, when you start to roll this clay, it's going to stick to this newspaper. So I want you to watch carefully how I do this. Switch directions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My clay is moving. It is completely uneven. It's thinner here, it's thicker here, it's kind of roll around. Pick up your newspaper. See how wet your newspaper is. It's not too bad. I'm gonna lay it down on the other side. Notice how uneven this is. That's okay. We're gonna keep working the clay. Notice I start in the center of the clay, push to the edge and back. I'm not pushing on the edges. I'm pushing from the center, start in the center, work your way to the left, work your way to the right, and notice the clay is moving. Now once you do 5 or 6 times, your clay's not going to move anymore, so you're ready to flip. Notice it's still wet but not coming apart yet, so I'm still going to use the same newspaper. But start in the center and go to the edge, then turn, go to the edge. If you feel the clay move a little, then you're good. Notice these little air pockets, they're fine, but it's not going to move a ton. And if it's not moving a ton, you don't want to roll and roll and roll a ton and waste your energy if the clay's not moving. So only do 5 or 6 times, flip it over. And I'm keeping a nice round shape. It doesn't have to be round, but I always start in the center and work my way to the edge. Notice that I changed the clay just a little. Okay, our goal is to get it large enough to fit this slab. I'm going to flip my paper over. Okay, there it moved a little, here it moved a little. As long as you feel it moving a little, but I don't want my roller to come off the edge, so don't let it come off the edge. Okay, and it's getting bigger, and some ink came off of the newspaper. That's okay, it'll burn off in the kiln. That's nothing to worry about. Did you see it move there on the edge? That's good. What your goal is to keep it even, keep the even thickness throughout. Now some of you may need to change your newspaper as you do this. Now I'm using very light pressure because I'm getting to the point that it is almost large enough to fit my template. I think I'll change my newspaper. It's getting wet, so I want a dry piece. And I feel like it's thick here, so I'm gonna go over here. Did you see it move? Hopefully you did. Okay, check our template. Oh, we're getting really close. And my clay is still really thick. So here I go. Oh, did you see it move that time? That's a good sign, okay? Now we don't want it really, really thin. See how thick it is still? That's a good thing. Now my template's going to fit, yay! And then I'm gonna put my little circle here. And I'm going to take my knife tool. You do not want to use your needle tool for this because your needle tool can bend on the end. So don't use your needle tool to cut. Always use your knife tool. Here we go. And we're just going to trace this template. Now, if you don't know, this template is for a ceramic mug, like a coffee cup. Okay. And I'm just making the bottom of my coffee cup. Okay, now I'm going to remove the extra clay, and I want you to notice the thickness here. This is important because that gives strength to your mug. If you get it too thin or uneven, then your mug can be weak. So you want it to be the same. All of this clay can be reused. Notice that I'm kind of wiggling it together. I'm going to go ahead and wedge it real quick because I can use it later for add-ons, or I can give it back to my teacher to put with this clay so that it doesn't dry out. We can keep it in the bag so it doesn't dry out, can be reused. All right, so now let's take a look at the slab we've just created. Let's see. Now notice my newspaper tore, didn't it? So that means it's sticking to my newspaper a little bit. I want to be careful. See how it's peeling up? Let it do that. Don't use my fingers to dig on it. Okay, so now I have this nice slab it's pretty much equal from left to right. Okay, and I'm going to lay it here. Now it's really soft because my clay is fresh. Our goal is to let this dry out just a bit so that we can then carve on it, which is going to be the next video. But this is called a oh, it's left me. A smoothing tool is what it is. You use it to smooth out, but what happens is I'm barely pressing with it, and it is compressing the clay and smoothing out that clay so that we get rid of any air pockets. Okay, I had a little one there, and we'll smooth that out and compress the clay. We don't want to create any divots, like see how I'm making marks in the clay. I don't want to make marks in my clay. I just want to run it across just to smooth it out. And boom, your slab is now ready. Now, your slab, you can smooth out the edges with your finger, but that is how you make a slab.